Does God hear our prayers? And if he does, when might he answer those prayers? Well, one place we get an answer to these questions is in Luke 1, verse 5 to 25. We learn from this passage that God does hear prayer, but he may not answer those prayers until years and years later. In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah of the division of Abijah, and he had a wife from the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and statutes of the Lord. But they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and both were advanced in years. Now while he was serving as priest before God, when his division was on duty, according to the custom of the priesthood, he was chosen by lot to enter the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at the hour of incense. And there appeared to him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And Zechariah was troubled when he saw him, and fear fell on him. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard, and your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall call his name John. And you will have joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great before the Lord, and he must not drink wine or strong drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb. And he will turn many of the children of Israel to the Lord their God, and he will go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready for the Lord a people prepared." And Zechariah said to the angel, "How shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is advanced in years." And the angel answered him, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. And behold, you will be silent and unable to speak until the day that these things take place, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their time." And the people were waiting for Zechariah, and they were wondering at his delay in the temple. And when he came out, he was unable to speak to them, and they realized that he had seen a vision in the temple, and he kept making signs to them and remained mute. And when his time of service was ended, he went to his home. After these days his wife Elizabeth conceived, and for 5 months she kept herself hidden, saying, "Thus the Lord has done for me in the days when he looked on me, to take away my reproach among people." Zechariah's wife Elizabeth couldn't have children, and as we learn in verse 7, they are now both very old. But the angel in verse 13 says, "Your prayers have been heard." I don't know any old people that pray for a baby. Many times young, newly married couples pray fervently for a baby, but if they're unable, those prayers become less and less frequent. And I'm guessing that's what happened here as well, too. I think that when they were younger, Elizabeth and Zechariah prayed for a baby, but as they got older, this prayer became less and less frequent until they stopped praying it altogether. But this angel acts like this prayer was just from yesterday. And you can imagine Zechariah thinking, "Wait, you mean that prayer from 40 years ago?" Maybe that's why Zechariah doubts the angel. We see in verse 18, Zechariah says, "How can I be sure of this?" And as a result of his doubt, Zechariah is unable to speak. But look at verse 24. God answers the prayer, even though now both Zechariah and Elizabeth are very old. So does God hear prayer? And if so, when might he answer? We learn in this passage that God does hear prayer, but he may not answer until even after we've given up on him. Are you praying for something, or did you used to pray for something? Well, don't give up, don't lose hope, and don't doubt that God can answer that prayer like Zechariah did.